So Gareth Southgate has said he hopes his team won't be subjected to racist abuse at tonight's World Cup qualifier against Poland in Warsaw.
But after England were subjected to abuse, which included cups and a flare being pelted at players in Budapest, is it time for Gareth Southgate's side to simply pack up and walk off the pitch if there is another instance of racism?
We're joined now to discuss this with Fabrice Muamba, who previously played, of course, for Arsenal, Birmingham City and Bolton Wanderers, and football player and assistant manager at Livingston FC, Marvin Bartley, who advises the Scottish FA on diversity. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Marvin, I know that you have a plan in place at your club, don't you, that the players should walk off if they ever hear any sort of racist abuse directed at them or any of their teammates. How did you come to that conclusion? Why do you think that's the right thing to do?
Morning, Ben. Yeah, well, we had a meeting amongst ourselves, first and foremost, when I was a player and captain of the team. And we said that we didn't feel enough was being done. You know, what could we do to help enhance this and show just how serious this is and just how much we are against it? And that was, you know, we came to a decision as a group that we would walk off the pitch should we hear anything aimed at, you know, us or the other team, or anything at all coming from the fans. We then went to the manager and the chairman, and then they backed us up 100%. So it was very easy to come to. You know, it was a unanimous decision that we would walk off the pitch, and that's something that's still in place now at Livingston Football Club.
Fabrice, Gareth Bale said if it happened to any of our players in the Welsh team and they wanted to walk off the pitch, I'd be fully for it. But you don't think that's the way to tackle it, do you?
No, I don't agree with the walking off the pitch. I think solidarity, being able to stand together as a group of players, regardless of the race of the colour of the player, that's where it should be. That's how you should fight racism. You don't run away from the problem. You face it front, and it's down to UEFA to, you know, to sanction or to discipline the opposition team. You know, it's important that we show that racism can't win against a group of individual or group of guys who come together to play the game that we love. So for me, I don't agree with the idea of walking off the pitch. I'm more of guys just, let's come here, let's get a job done, and then from there, let UEFA and the people that's in position of governing the game to make sure that it's been taken care in the right way.
Do you think then, Fabrice, that UEFA and FIFA are doing enough? Because we are having this discussion far too regularly, and we saw what happened against Hungary last week. We know that the Hungarians are facing a two-match ban from having fans at two of their games for a UEFA sanction game. Of course, this World Cup qualifier was FIFA, so the fans were able to be in there. You think they are actually doing enough? You think finding them or putting these sanctions in is enough to stop the racism? Because it certainly doesn't seem to be having the impact we all want it to have.
No, Ben, what I'm trying to say is that you have to hit them where it hurts. So if the national team playing the game behind the closed door, which will affect not just the player but the whole country, then you've got to do what you need to do. But I don't agree with walking off the pitch. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not a big advocate of you know, when things get a bit difficult for everybody, let's just walk off and pretend like nothing ever happened. I think UEFA should literally severely sanction the opposition, you know, the team that's causing all the racism. That I think that they should actually sanction it severely, and that way we'll pass on the message. Because at the end of the day, the game is broader than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So people should be able to accept people from different colour, different race, and regardless of the background, you just have to respect them. And I think severe punishment going forward, the more you do it, the more the part of the message you're sending out across Europe.
Marvin, really what we're talking about is zero tolerance, and you both are taking a zero tolerance approach. And Fabrice's view is you have zero tolerance of fans. So, you know, as soon as it happens, you play behind closed doors. What you're saying is that the players should show a zero tolerance of those fans by walking off. I mean, I can't imagine what it is. I can only imagine, actually, what it is like if you have that experience on the pitch. And I can completely understand and would support anybody who said, I'm not having it. But perhaps it would affect the authorities more if there is a sort of financial impact, you play behind closed doors or you ban the team.
Yeah, but we've seen this happen before, and still we're here in 2021, and the same problems are rearing their ugly head. You have to walk off the pitch. You talk about, Fabrice said there about, hitting them where it hurts. The way you hit them where it hurts is by walking off the pitch when you are racially abused as a team and leave one team out there. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. So for UEFA and for FIFA, for a long, long time, we've hoped that they've handed down sanctions that have been firm enough, that have been a deterrent, and they just haven't done it. They've spoke about, show racism the red card, or they've said no to racism and discriminative messages coming from the fans and everything else. But when it comes to the fines, it doesn't show that. So now it is time to walk off the pitch, because it will hit them where it hurts. Because, broadcasters pay a lot of money, to broadcast these games. Sponsors pay a lot of money to sponsor these games. Who's going to want to sponsor a game or, broadcast a game that after 20 minutes, if somebody's racially abused and the team repeatedly do this, the other team are going to walk off the pitch? Then it will hit them where it hurts, because it affects the product. At the end of the day, FIFA and UEFA are out there to govern and make sure football's a safe place for everybody. At this moment in time, it's not a safe place. And as I said, they've spoken an awful lot about what they want to do to try and eradicate racism out of the game. But when it comes to the fines, they haven't backed it up. So now it's time for footballers, because we are the product at the end of the day. The players are the product. Without the players, there is no UEFA, there is no FIFA. So if we don't feel that we are being represented by them and protected by them the way we should be, let's take matters into our own hand. And as I said, who's going to watch a game when there's only one team on the pitch? Who's going to want to sponsor a team or a game where, we sponsor it for 90 minutes and then after 20 minutes somebody's been racially abused again and the other team walk off the pitch? It's going to start to affect the product, and that's going to affect the pockets of FIFA and UEFA and the FA. We've spoken about Hungary and what happened with the England players. FIFA are going to be a lot harsher with them, and UEFA will be a lot harsher with them, because they can say, listen, now it's affecting our pockets, now it's affecting us, financially. And until that happens, they're not going to be serious about racism. Let's be honest. 10 years ago, we've seen the same things happen. As you said, Hungary have got 2 games coming up where they will have no fans in the stadium. But even before that's happened, they're racially abusing people again. It's just not acceptable, and the fines have been slaps on the wrist. You get more for, England will find more money for having an illegal sponsor, in inverted commas, on their socks than, teams have been for racially abusing people. So you can't say to me that UEFA and FIFA are serious about this and they want to make a change, and then all of a sudden, when it comes to the fines, a slap on the wrist, and it's not a deterrent because it keeps on happening. So now it's time for the next step. We can only do a certain amount. We've relied on the governing bodies and they haven't helped us enough.
Fabrice, I wonder what you made of what happened in the Hungary game. I'm pretty sure you'll have seen this, when the goals were scored and the players were pelted with cups by the home fans, of course. Donna says on email they should absolutely walk off. They could be in danger. It was cups this time, but what is it going to be next? There is a point, isn't there, where there is sort of the safety of the players is a huge concern, regardless of what the crowd are shouting at them. If they're throwing cups at them this time and then they're facing some sort of sanction, what are they going to do next time? Is there something that would happen that you would sanction walking off the pitch, that you would believe that is the right thing to do?
No, Ben, what I'm trying to say is that there's a certain line you can't cross. I think when you start throwing items to the players, then that's when you say, what's the point? Yeah. Yes, you can say things to me, but when you start throwing actually a bottle or a thing that might hurt an individual while they're playing the game of football, then that's the type of line that you don't want to cross. And if this tends to happen, then I would encourage them to walk off the pitch. But in regarding to people using the voice and abusing them regarding the race, I don't agree with that. But with throwing stuff, that's something that you don't cross the line with that one. Quite
right. Thank you both so much.
I'd rather be hit with a cup than be racially abused personally. Yeah, I was just saying, I'd rather be hit with a cup than be racially abused. I said I've been on the receiving end of it, and it's horrible. So yeah, walking off is the only thing now.
That's interesting that you say that. I mean, that's the other side of it, isn't it, Marvin? That how it affects the individual. The racist abuse is a threat. It's destabilising. And the player is expected just to carry on as if it's, it was just shouting. It's not. It's deliberately designed to undermine, sabotage somebody, hurt them in the worst possible way. I mean, I'm speaking as someone who doesn't experience it. I'm only trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who does, which is why I think that walking off. But I mean, Fabrice, you also have a very strong opinion. The point is, for both of you, is that UEFA and FIFA are simply not doing what they should to stop this happening.
Yeah.
And the difference in opinion is how we put pressure on them to do that. And it's absolutely disgusting that we're still discussing it, frankly. Fabrice and Marvin, thank you so much.
Lots of you getting in touch in this, Andrew. 100% they should leave. It's up to the club and institutions to look out for our players. Frida says, get our boys and girls off the pitch if they're bombarded with racist chants. The football league should be protecting them. Nobody's looking after them. It's all about money, nothing else. But a lot of you going along the lines of it's just the minority, and why should the majority suffer because of the minority? Stand there, be counted. July says, I don't think they should walk off. All the players on both sides should stop until that shouting stops. I mean, that's an interesting proposition, isn't it, actually, if it's the opposition and they can see and hear that racist chants as well. I'm sure the Polish players don't want to see that from their fans. The Hungarian players won't want to see that from their fans because they know there's going to be sanctions down the line.
Sean, it's interesting, isn't it, to hear that it's actually an attack, isn't it? You know, to hear Marvin say, I'd rather be hit by a cup than racist abuse.
Yeah, and so would I, yeah. I mean, it goes to the very heart of what you're doing and your ability to do it. And, yeah, racist abuse is absolutely atrocious and it needs to be stopped. And, yeah, interesting, isn't it? Yeah, cups thrown at you, actually, does it really hurt? Does it make a difference? But that racist abuse...
Physical abuse will never hurt you, but it's like a physical attack.
Yeah,
Or worse than a physical attack.
Yeah, but I think when you said undermining that, I think that's it. It undermines you. You're standing on the pitch as a player, I'm standing here as a broadcaster, and if someone comes up to me and gives me racist abuse, there's something about that that undermines my ability to do that, and that is far worse than having a cup thrown at you.
Let's hope that there isn't any incident tonight. England playing Poland. You can see the ITV coverage starts at 7:15, and let's hope we're talking tomorrow about the football, not what happened off the pitch.